Good evening. Welcome. We're going to call this meeting to order and say thank you for joining us. Anyone who is online or in person, we're glad you're here. Thank you for making this a priority tonight. We'll go ahead and start with our Pledge of Allegiance, and we would like Deja to help lead us in that. Thank you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next we'll have our roll call attendant, Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Here.
Director Kelly,
Here.
Director Watts,
Here.
President Levesque,
Here.
Director Knapp.
Here.
Student Advisor Nickel.
Here.
Student Advisor Reed. Here. Superintendent Sweet.
Here. Thank you. Nice to have everybody here. Next, we'll have our approval of the regular meeting agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to change, or do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve agenda as presented.
I'll second. It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Knapp to approve the agenda as presented. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Watts,
Yes.
President Levesque,
Yes.
Director Knapp.
Yes. The agenda is approved as presented. And that brings us to a fun part of our meeting, our presentation part of our meeting. We're going to start with our Stille Valley Chamber, talking about our National Civics Bee, and we would like to welcome Diane Krieg from the Stille Valley Chamber of Commerce. She's our executive director there, and she does lots of fun things with our students for internship. We're going to say,
So you got one of these up there, but I've got some for everybody because I want you to share. Normally, I don't hand out papers, but there is a student guide. Find a student, give it to them.
I know one.
If they're in fifth or sixth, no, sixth, seventh, or eighth grade, share. There's a parent's guide. Find a parent. There is a how to judge. And so, I'm asking each of you to fill out, become an essay judge, because that's a part of the program. So we need to have, the way the students are involved is everybody writes an essay. If they're in sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, that's how they enter the contest. It's a national contest. It's been in Washington, this is the fourth year, and it's been in Washington all that time. But up until now, they've had to go like to Tacoma or Vancouver or Spokane. So we're bringing it to us this year. So the way the students enter, is they write an essay, 750 words about what is happening in their community, what they would change, and how they would like to be involved. Simple process. They upload it. And then they're entered. The judges, which is nationally, the essay judges will then judge the essay. So if you sign up to be a judge, you'll be given about 2 hours, some in February, and you grade those essays. And then 20 students chosen by zip code come to the B, which will be here at Haller Middle School on March 22nd. So,
And what do they do when they come to Howard?
at Howard, they are given a quiz.
Okay.
They also have a portion where and if you look, their Khan Academy helps with that. They're given information from Khan Academy and they're asked a quiz question. So we're gonna start with 3 quiz questions to see how you are on your civics. Actually, I
Oh,
got
no. There's a buzzer.
if I could have brought buzzers, I should have thought about it. But there is one thing, if you want to find out the rest of, there's like 15 questions on the National Civics Bee, if you want to go there and do some more quizzing of yourself. Okay, which branch of the government can declare war? Executive, judicial, legislative, or any of the above? Miss Mary.
Legislative.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many senators does each state have?
2.
2.
We're good. Good job.
What do you think the difference is between our 2 types of congressional representatives? You can choose more than one. A representative term is longer than a senator's. A representative represents districts, while senators represent their entire state. Representatives answer to the governor, while the senator answers to the president. and representatives are apportioned by population, whereas only every state has 2 senators. So you can have more than one answer.
1,
Yes.
2, and 4.
It is B, representatives represent districts. And representatives are apportioned by population, where every state has 2 senators. Okay, so one more. The Supreme Court has how many justices?
I'm gonna get this wrong now.
What?
You were telling me
I
I
don't know.
I
said
think
6. I was thinking 6 or 7. I can't remember.
Yes,
Okay.
9.
Is it nine?
I was
Okay.
It's an even number.
I knew.
So-
It was a
So
lot.
the interesting thing about this is they found nationally that once the students have studied, the students do good. Their parents, not as much. They can usually beat out their parents, but they can't beat out their grandparents. I just invite you to share the information with any students. I would love to have all of our students be a participation. The portal is open so that students can, if they have a class that covers this, they can do it in the winter or in the fall quarter or the winter. So the portal is now open for the kids to put in those essays. They have until February 4th. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Did you send this out in Peach Jar?
It has been sent, not one of these, but some of them have been sent to Peach Jar. Yvonne told me that I need to make a nicer one or a more fun one. So that's the one that's on the front.
It's fun.
Anybody else have any other questions? They did go out in Peach Jar. Yes,
It would be best just to hand out just this front page.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I just gave different options, because there are information about the judging, there's information for parents, there's information for educators. And there's different stuff for different people.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Very exciting. Also, next up in our presentation portion of our meeting tonight is our transition program presentation. And we would like to welcome up Brenda Wyman, our Director of Learning Support, and Madison Taylor, our transition program teacher. Come on up.
Well, thank you for having us evening. I'm actually just going to do a quick introduction and then let Madison take it away. And she brought with her today Selena Burnett, who is one of our students in our transitions program. Our transitions program is housed at Weston High School and for our 18 to 22-year-old students. And right now we have 19 students in that program. So really excited for them to share with you what they're doing.
Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah.
Just like Brenda was saying, we are an 18 to 22-year-old program. So students that are coming from the high school that are still learning job skills, independent living skills. Some of the things we really focus on are adaptive skills. So making sure that we have those lifetime skills, making sure we're looking our best and feeling our best out in the world. There's Selena actually doing some financial skills.
Yeah.
What are you doing there, Selena? Do you know what you're doing? Counting money, making sure we're doing our budgeting, and we focus on a wide range of people with disabilities. So students that are ready to go out and do renting, but need those budgeting stuff or need more skills like how to do everyday shopping and more supportive activities at home. We also go out to different job sites to learn vocational skills and do job sites. Selena, do you have a favorite job site? Pizza Factory, Pizza Factory, that's a good one. And so we also do some home living. So we also practice doing some cooking, how to do laundry and all that good stuff. You want to click our next button? Oh, perfect. Here are some of the job sites that we work at. So we come to school, students practice doing their job applications. Another favorite is Kat's,
Yeah.
another one. She's really good at that one. And so we go out, fill out job applications, then go out into our community and go to different job sites in our own vehicles. And we've acquired quite a few new places in the last couple of years. The newest one we've acquired this year is HCI Steel Buildings, which is a small business in Arlington, and they do steel buildings and framework. And so we have a student that does the office work on the inside and a couple students that do the warehouse work on the outside. So we get a little bit of everything. We also work with Diane in the chamber and we do some stuff hanging flyers downtown and going to different businesses.
Yeah.
We work with Dwayne Lane and get water bottles and peel water bottle labels off for them and then put their Dwayne Lane's water bottle stickers on. We work at Food Bank to fill up food bags that go out to our different schools for students to take home for the weekend and all that good stuff. So a little bit of something for everybody and everybody's interests. Oh, here we go. Nice. Here are just some of the places that we do at the job sites. Like I mentioned, we work at the food bank. We work at Home, which is a mini horse rescue. We work at Pizza Factory, and the owner of Pizza Factory has been really nice and has been teaching our students how to make pizzas, how to spin the dough, how to roll it out, put it in the pizza oven and put their own toppings on. So that has been a really cool experience. And then we get to take our pizza home for lunch. So we all really like it when people make pizza at the Pizza Factory.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what our next one is. We also like to work in the community. So when we're not at job sites, who's that? That's you down there, and that's Maria. We also like to go out into the community because life isn't always about work. And so when students graduate, they just can't spend their whole time working or spending time at home. So we try and get them involved in the community as well. We will go out to different sites like Walmart or Target and do scavenger hunts to see what prices are and try and stay on budget with the shopping list. There's Maria being funny at the store. We also get to try and go find different hobbies out in the community. So we went to Deception Park when it was still kind of nice outside to just kind of get some fresh air and explore other things to do besides work. What do we got next, Lena? Ooh, we also do some classroom learning. Every day that students come to work at Transitions, they earn. There's Kylie. She was our employee of the month at the beginning of the year. So every time they go out to work at their job sites, they get fake Transitions money that we get. They get paid every 2 weeks and they get to budget that out and then spend their money at our classroom store. So they get a little bit of sampling of that. And we also nominate employee of the month so that they know that they're working hard and get that feeling of accomplishment. Ricky's there in the middle practicing doing some stocking of some gift cards in the classroom. And Zach is also doing some cooking to make some pizza bagels for our class. Yeah, do you remember eating that?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and there we go. We also will do a little bit of fun and hobbies. We've been using the Weston gym that has been building and growing. And our students absolutely love it. Who's that on the punching bag there, Selena? Karsten, yes. So we've got a few ways to move our bodies around. We've been doing fundraisers out in the community. Last year, we had an extremely successful fundraiser where we learned how to, and Julia's out there also at the beach. What did we make for our fundraiser last year, Selena? Cats, we made cat toys and we made dog bandanas and we made some dog biscuits and we went out to different spots in the community, asked business owners if it was okay to sell our stuff there. And we went out and set booths and students got to actually deal with money and work with community members out in the community. And which was such an awesome experience. Let's see what else we got. And here's some quotes from some transition students. Selena, you might recognize some of these people. Who's that first one there? Tamaya. Tamaya is saying that's one of her favorite things that she's learned with transitions is how to sew. William has been excited because we've been supporting him getting DDA help, which is something they need once they graduate transitions. There's Maya down at the bottom. She likes the stores and her friends. She's modeling some glow sticks she's bought from the store there. And then Ricky's saying how he likes Pizza Factory and soda because they give us a free soda when we finish Pizza Factory too. Selena, what is some of your favorite things about transitions? Can you tell them?
Pizza.
Pizza Factory is your favorite thing? Yeah. Is there any other place you like to work?
Cat house.
Perfect Pals, the cat place. And what's your favorite thing you've learned at transitions?
They're happy.
Being happy, yeah, being happy and talking with your friends, yeah. Is there anything else you want to share about transitions, Selena?
And you?
Me, oh, thank you, Selena. I think, yeah, it's been so great. Selena's now in her third year in transitions. So she's looking to graduate next year, but we are excited to have her another year. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all we've got.
Yep.
Nice, thank you, Suzanne.
Nicely done. Thank you,
Thank
Madison.
you.
Nice job, Celine.
Selena.
Selena, yeah, nice job. Thank you very much. Wonderful. All right. Next, we're gonna have our regular part of our meeting. You're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming.
I know. Pizza factory.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you. All right, next up is our approval of the minutes, and we have our regular meeting minutes from November 12th. Anybody have any amendments for the minutes? When we have a motion to approve the November 12th meeting minutes.
I make a motion, we approve the regular meeting minutes from November 12th.
It's been moved by Director Kelly and seconded by Director Watts to approve the regular meeting minutes from November 12th. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Yay.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Watts,
Yay.
President Levesque,
Aye.
Director Nat.
Yes.
Those minutes are approved as presented. Thank you. The next up, we would have our public comment portion of our meeting. Do we have anyone that has signed up to speak or anyone in the audience who would like to speak tonight? Moving right along, we have our consent agenda portion of our meeting. Does anybody want to pull from the consent agenda? Or do we have a motion to approve consent agenda as presented?
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second. It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Knapp to approve the consent agenda as presented. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Watts,
Yes.
President Levesque.
Yes.
Director Nat.
Aye.
Thank you. Next up is our new business portion of our meeting. Moving quickly, Gina is next up with our financial highlights of our current budget. Thank you.
All right, ready to go. Thank you. Here to talk to you about where we're at in our finances now that we've closed out the fiscal year for 23-24. And now we are able to come in with the most recent few months that we have closed out, September, October. So this is as of October. And you'll recognize that a lot of our familiar financial positives are still here before us, but I'm keeping this on a, statewide. We have these very positive things. We have our 4-year EP&L levy. We have a capital levy to help us keep our buildings and our projects around that need to be done up to speed. So those are really super positive, and they're at the high level. So we want to keep those in mind because we also dig down into the intimate places within our finances when we start talking about more details. Enrollment increase, this is another positive. We have greater than 60 students more than we had planned or budgeted for. And our fund balance is projected to increase by the close of this next fiscal year, 24-25. And our OSPI financial indicator score is also projected to be back into a positive spot. So I'll talk a little bit more about that because I'll show you what that looks like for us. So for OSPI financial indicator score, OSPI has a tool that they post up on their website. And there are a number of factors that they utilize within that to come up with this weighted score. And some of it's about fund balance, some of it's about your amount of cash that you have on hand at any given time, a certain number of days worth. And it's also about revenues compared to expenditures and revenues compared to your fund balance and all of those things they look at. So you can see that we have been, and I've showed this tool on occasion throughout the last fiscal year. So just coming to what we're at for 23-24, I have extrapolated from the tool that OSPI publishes. They don't have 23-24 figures up there yet, but I have taken their tool and I've plugged in our own numbers for what we have. And I do determine that we would have a score of 1.50 for the 23-24 fiscal year. So that is considered less than 1.75, and it would be what they would call as financial warning. Now, that doesn't tie into binding conditions. It's not related. This is just a tool. And I wanted also to point out that in 22-23, there were 19 school districts that were within in that range. And you can kind of see a history there. In 1920, the number of districts that had a score less than 1.75, there was one district. In 2021, there were 3 districts. In 21-22, there were 5 districts. And then we have a drastic increase, 22-23. So many foretold that this was coming on its way on the heels of the pandemic and with what funding sources were doing. And so that has rang true for 22-23 especially. And Arlington is on its way to recovery, but you can still see that in 23-24 that we are still generating that score of less than 1.75. But the good news is, it's positive and a not so positive, but the good news is that for 24-25, if I put in our budgeted numbers for that, I get a score of 2.20. So if those matters hold true and come through, then we would show a better number next year. Or for 24-25. So here's our fund balance trend. Here's our trend for how we've been looking over the past 3 to 4 years, because we're in that 4th year. So you can see that our fund balance, we started with 1.2 million. So that's our lower end for starting. And we are projected to end with about 2 million, over 2 million by the end of the fiscal year. But you can see that this is where we're at for September and October. We have that uptick because of tax collections. And then as the expenditures and revenues play out over the next months, we're going to start hitting those low points, especially the low point would be in June. So we'll talk some more about that because we're preparing for what we would need from the board for that next. So our financial challenges, these are the same theme that we've been talking about. Our state funding gaps, especially in the area of special education, food and nutrition services, and bus services. This also will align with our legislative priorities that we've been talking about. And other school districts would similarly state similar things. Our budget reductions and savings that we made for 23-24 and 24-25 budget, those are hard to live with. So those are a challenge for us because we still have needs that are being brought forth and we're having to consider those and not have a lot of resources that we can put towards those. So that's a financial challenge for us. We're working to rebuild that fund balance and we are preparing to request to the board interfund loans this year to meet our cash flow obligations during those low months starting with November. So also during June would be the summer low points. So next, we'll be talking about this as a next business item on the meeting, but giving more information. Board resolution coming up, 2413, we're asking for an interfund loan of up to 3 million. So we're coming with a larger amount at the beginning because we know we're going to be needing to utilize portions of that for November, December, January, February, May. We might actually be able to pay some of it back in March and April or all of it back. But we would still have to turn around and reloan ourselves in June. So we'll be coming back to request and work with the board on as the numbers are more firm and more solid when we get closer to that. But we'll be coming back again with a second request. But again, our resources by the end of the fiscal year, we will have received enough that we will be able to pay back all of the interfund loans that we're requesting. And interest for interfund loan estimate for this is about 24,000 over the course of those months. Would add up to about that as an estimate. So that is all that I have, other than here's the slide that memorializes the conditions around fund balance that we continue to bring for anybody who plugs into this midstream and hasn't seen any of the prior information that we've been talking about. So keep that as part of our presentation. But at the bottom, I did add 2024-25 is projected to show a growth in fund balance. There is light. There's light, there's hope. We're moving in that direction. Questions?
So are we talking about taking one loan out for those 4 months?
We're talking about providing authorization to take a portion in November, a portion in December as needed, but not more than 3 million when you put all those portions together, cumulative.
Okay.
So that we minimize the interest costs.
Yeah, that was my thought process.
But then we're also not trying to last minute come to the board and say, we need more, we need more, we know we're gonna need more.
Any questions from our student advisors about budget? No, shocking. Anything else from any other board members? All right, let's move on to the next item on our agenda, our resolution 2413 interfund loan. Gina,
So yes, we just pretty much went over what we will would be the highlights for this area of the agenda. But this is the actual resolution proposing that with all the legal language that's required, documenting the requirements of the request for having what the loan would be, that we're borrowing from the capital projects fund, and that we would need to pay that back with interest and et cetera. So there's really
This is
more
an action.
information unless you want.
this is an action item. We've done this in the past. Ask, is there a motion?
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2413. Second.
It's been moved by Director Knapp and seconded by Director Watts to approve resolution 2413 interfund loan. Director Diamond,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Watts,
Yes.
President Levesque. Yes. Director Knapp. Yes. Thank you. The board has approved resolution 2413. Thank you, Jeanette. And you can stay up there if you'd like. And next up is our Merle McGuire Mayo Scholarship discussion. This one's not an action item tonight, but it will be in the future.
Right, so this is a very positive thing to be talking about. So it's an annual agenda item for the board to give your input on the numbers and the amounts of scholarships based on the amount that's available in this fund. It's a Merle McGuire Mayo Scholarship Endowment Fund. And just a little bit about Mr. Mayo. He was a 1936 graduate of Arlington High School and he passed away in 2013. And he endowed a large sum, about $2.4 million to the district that was to be put in a private purpose trust fund that has to remain, that 2.4 million has to stay. And all interest earnings would be available then each year to distribute in the form of scholarship. And we have a board resolution that talks about how that's to go and clarifies the scholarship process in the timelines with the practice. And last year, the contribution from Merle Mayo Scholarship Funds and $2 for scholars, which is Arlington dollar for scholars, which is designated within the resolution on how this endowment is supposed to be handled. 50,000 was available last year. And that was done in 14 scholarships to 14 students. 12 of those were single year at 2,500 was the dollar, not for that. And then there were 2 that were renewable. There were 2 4-year scholarships at 2,500 each year for 4 years for those students. But this year, the finance department, we've looked at it and we do round that number to make that succinct. $67,000 is available. And so now we get to have the fun of looking over what some of those combinations might look like. And the board has engaged with this in the past and kind of had some different thoughts about, well, what should it be this year? What are we under changing circumstances for students that are engaging in college? What are the needs? What do we think is the best thing to do with how this would be doled out? And one of those ideas is listed here. There's multiple. And so just being able to look at the different values. Some of them, it includes scholarships to more students, but less dollar amount. Or it's still a good number of students who would receive these. A little less students receiving it, but some of them get a recurring scholarship. Or just having some different dollar amounts of what does the board feel like is the best dollar amount that will make an impact. Question.
Who gets these? Obviously students, but how,
Right.
like,
Arlington Dollars for Scholars will manage that process, and they do have a blind process for figuring that out, but the two main things is academic need and, for academics and, needs,
Okay.
financial. need.
And you know, thank you notes I've been reading, those are from students that received those.
oh, okay. I'm actually curious on the student advisors.
me too.
How would you
Mhm.
want to disseminate?
What would be
like,
more
what-
helpful
Yeah,
as a graduating senior? What would be best one for
Right.
students?
Are we actually answering that right now?
yeah. Good question. So it's like,
Deja, you wanna go first?
Sure.
Which one would you rather see happen?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of stuck between 4, 5, and 6 right now. Because those, they might not, well, 5 definitely doesn't hit the most, or 4 doesn't hit the most students. But what it does is, it allows the $4,500 for over 4 years to one student, and then 14 other kids get the 3,500. Versus the one student getting $10,000 or $12,000. Like, I feel like the accumulation of and being able to split it up. Like, if I was going to college and like I was going to a school that's like tuition's like $15,000 a year, just that. Even if I was just getting the 3,500, like that would be an extreme amount of help for even just the first year. And then you get, like, if you get a whole bunch of other scholarships on top of that, like it can all add up to a lot.
Good thoughts. Thank you. Nathan,
Yeah, as a student who's been applying and looking for scholarships recently, I mean, every little bit helps. And it's really nice to know that there's people willing to donate. There's people who want to give out scholarships. My immediate reaction is give as much money as possible to as many students as possible. So I'm more inclined to go with option 5. But I think there's a lot of value to what Deja was saying. As many students as possible with consecutive years, because then every year they get at least some financial aid. So with that being said, I would still go with 5 because we get the maximum amount of students with 3 students being given money for free. So yeah, I'd choose option 5.
thank you for your opinion. Let's go down the row. Director Nat.
Yeah, I was also looking at the 4-year options, just. I like that because it encourages the 4 years, and then once they're starting school, I feel like it just kind of snowballs, so, I of course also was thinking 5 because it's like as many students as possible, but I also feel like there's something with number 6, like it's, I don't know, I feel like 4, 5, or 6 are like, you can't really go wrong.
Good thoughts.
So,
Director Diamond.
like, more than
More than
Yeah.
that.
even every little.
more
bit helps. Yeah,
opportunity,
yeah.
yeah.
Director Kelly.
I say 5 as well. I am with 5.
I put a star next to 5 a long time ago, but yeah.
You did it before.
So fun to look at all the,
Yeah.
look at all the different choices.
At least there's options and it's money. It's real money. It's not hundreds, it's thousands.
Yeah, college is expensive,
It is.
not just the first year, but all the years.
I was made blessed with any sort of.
That's what I'm saying, like, I like the idea of more students
Thank you,
getting
Gina.
even just a little bit.
Awesome, thank
Go to
you.
Lowe's.
That's great. and
Great
come back
discussion.
next month, next meeting.
Next meeting. All right. Next up is our interlocal agreement with our public hospital district number 3, establishing the Arlington Coalition for Healthy and Resilient Youth. And this one is a student advisory vote. So we will ask our student advisors to weigh in on this one. And Dr. Sweeting.
Yes, so the public hospital district number 3 is the backbone of this new coalition. And it is an effort as a collective of people within our community to go out and support students, educate students and their families and the community about youth substance abuse, misuse, and prevention. And so this interlocal agreement is really to designate or identify what the district's commitment is to this coalition. And so it identifies what the responsibility of the coalition in this partnership and also what ours. So for example, in Article 3, the district's responsibilities are that we have a representative for this coalition. And right now it's myself and Carrie Helgeson. So we kind of share that responsibility. Our responsibility is to ensure that there's clear communication between the district and the coalition. And that the representative that we provide for the coalition is a positive role model for everyone. And that the representative, our representative will attend the meetings on a regular basis, and that they'll participate in a subcommittee, and they'll attend town meetings and all kinds of things like that. And they'll contribute to strategic planning and support the efforts of the coalition. So this is really a commitment of the district being involved with a representative from our district in the coalition. That's what it is.
Any questions for anyone on the board? All right, students, ready to give your advisory vote? Deja, how would you vote today?
Yes.
And Nathan,
Yes, great.
that's great. I agree. Thank you for your advisory vote. Do we have a motion to approve interlocal agreement with Public Hospital District 3 establishing the Arlington Coalition of Healthy and Resilient as presented?
Motion to approve interlocal agreement with Public Hospital District number 3, establishing the Arlington Coalition for Healthy and Resilient Youth.
I second.
It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Watts to approve the interlocal agreement with Public Hospital District 3 for the coalition. Madam Clerk. Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Watts.
Aye.
President Rebecca. Aye. Director Nett.
Yes.
Thank you. That is approved. Next up is our Universal Design for Learning UDL 2024-25 series. And that we get to welcome Carrie up, our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, to share with us about the AHS Life Skills Program.
And, do you have Kleenex back there?
Oh, please, no.
It's short. It's very short.
We're okay.
But just, it's been a bit since we've talked about universal design for learning. So remember, there are 3 sort of arms or 3 different approaches to universal design for learning. The first is at the universal tier, lesson planning that prevents barriers before kids even walk in the door. Quality lesson design. The second arm is co-teaching, where we have a paraeducator or a special education teacher teaching in conjunction with the classroom teacher. And the final one is inclusion, and that is involving students that tend to be most impacted in general education classrooms, and that's what we're going to see tonight. It is put together, I had nothing to do with this, bless our high school life skills department. They put this together as an informational video for staff and for anybody else who might like to see it. So it's only 2.5 minutes. You might not even have time to cry, but.
This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I
take the tongue with it. No tongue with it. The tongue's on the bottom of the mouth.
Ross Kelly, you didn't hear about it today.
Stronger. There you go.
Good job, Sharon.
My name is Jordan Richardson. This is my voice. I use an ASC device to communicate and talk to my friends and family.
You say, my name is Grace. G. What's next? Miss Grace.
Let me ask you, in the 2.5-minute video, what barriers did you see removed for kids through inclusion? Communication, absolutely. Technologically and using pictures, both effective.
And that's in the new life skills wing. Yes, I guess.
There's that special classroom that was
Yeah.
designed with life skills in mind.
Has that made a big difference? I don't know what the.
It's, if you get a chance to go by there, it's really fabulous, but it's a big space.
Yeah.
And so there's laundry facility in there, there's cooking facility, it has its own bathroom. So there are opportunities. At the end, it did talk about needing some space. Sometimes that might be less stimulating, and so that whole classroom acts as kind of a homeroom.
Sure.
So the kids are not out all day, generally speaking. Some are close, but it's a flex space that really is designed to meet a wide variety of kids. They do learn some of their standard learning in there as well. So just to blend.
What percentage of time are they outside that room, would you say?
Depends on the kid.
Depends on the
very
student.
much.
That's
So
what I thought their
depends on the
IEP.
kid.
And what I have loved is recognizing some from like elementary
Yeah.
school, now through middle school, and
Yeah.
then really finding themselves in high school and feeling empowered. That's
And you got
amazing.
to meet Selena tonight as well.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
that certainly continues.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the kids would come from here and then could go to the Weston program?
Often.
Age
that's
wise,
what happens.
it's,
There's some parent choice in there as well, and
okay,
a variety.
it's an
of
offering.
components that make up the decision, but we do actively encourage kids to continue through their 22nd year.
Nice.
It was great to see
Oh,
them
it's good.
all over the school in so many different
Mhm.
places.
Yeah.
They weren't just in the classroom, but they
Yeah.
were all over the place.
Right.
In the movie theater, and outside, and sports.
Where they
and-
should be.
And sports med,
Right.
and just so many different options.
Right.
Yep, and cupcakes.
Great cakes.
Yes.
Yes, and so many captivating pictures of what the kids are thinking and doing really while they're.
Yeah, I think the most powerful part for me is the unified sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a student
Life changing.
and being able to go to those events, and seeing my fellow students surround, then it's a community.
It's really the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. And if you've never seen Kylie play basketball, she's the most joyous basketball player I've ever seen. It's great. And she cheers also. She's a talented athlete.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Very grateful. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie, and all of those teachers and the students. It's so great to see students at our meetings. Next up is our learnings from our 2024 WASDA Annual Conference. And I thought we would just kind of go down the road. Dr. Sweeting, do you want to share your thoughts first?
Yeah, the WASDA conference was in Spokane, so the board, we all went, all of us, which was great. And the title of the conference was Perspective. So it was a lot of just considering how important perspectives are and listening and hearing all perspectives. And I guess what stands out to me, I mean, the one thing that stood out is that as a board team, that we are all in for our kids and that we really want to learn together and grow together so that we can make truly better decisions. And that was very evident at the conference. But then besides that, I did go, there was a keynote speaker on AI and I learned some things in that break. He also had a breakout session, but one of the things he said about Washington State is that we actually, across the nation, we are 5th. He said that we're 5th and that in fact, our guidelines for AI, we're in our 3rd revision, which means to be been at this longer than others. So, and just learned some interesting things. For example, you can actually use the AI to go to your refrigerator, take a picture of the food in there, and it can say what you could make with what's in the refrigerator. Water.
Lots of water.
But we did some interesting, just some activities of, like creating poems. We did, and the concept of it not being cheating was alive and well, that, it's just a tool that you use, and you do have to use it very carefully, because he also said that an AI lies as much as humans, so you have to be careful about that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you. Director Diamond.
For me, technology and mental health was the big things on the conference this year. AI, social media, cell phone use, and then just mental health. Not even awareness, but just kind of more access to resources, and how to access those resources through a lot of the conferences that I went to. So it was a really good experience. Every year, I'm glad to go. So, but yeah, technology and mental health.
Great, thank you. Director Knapp.
I want to say before I forget that congratulations to Sherry. 'Cause
Oh,
she
yeah.
completed
Oh,
the leadership
yeah.
institute. That was really cool. That have you up there on the stage.
Thank you.
Presenting Arlington. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I went to several sessions and I have some like specific asks of our district from it. So I went to the LGBTQ plus session. I forget what it was called exactly, but Paige was the presenter and she did a great job. So she was talking about gender inclusive schools and laws and kind of like the students' rights. So one of the things that she pointed out was on Maslow's pyramid, that there is now a middle one and it's love and belonging. And so I thought that was interesting with our our focus on belonging. And then highlighted the importance of inclusive curriculum. So it's been kind of a hot topic with some people not really understanding why we need to have LGBTQ plus history in our schools. But it is about students being able to place themselves on the arc of history and like teaching all history, which I support. We can always dive deep into more history. I love history. So, and then one thing that I wanted to ask is, do we have LGBTQ plus rights in our student handbooks for the middle school and high school? I don't know. So I wanted to learn about that. Like it's written in there in the student handbooks that they get for like
non-discrimination. Or specifically, we have, and there's places where it does even use the LGBTQ plus terms.
Okay.
But did they give you any examples?
I can share the slides with you. Okay. But I don't know if she had examples, but yeah, I can share this. And then I went to the AI one as well, and that was really interesting. And then the question that I think I came away with from that was, what are we using for our search engine? But it was really interesting to hear about because Chat GPT, the way he described it was like, it just copied and pasted everything on the internet.
Yep.
And put it in there, so you're gonna get true and false, so you still need to do your own research. What I really liked was you can take like a text in a book and then Chat GPT or AI can rewrite it for varied reading levels. So I was like, that is a useful tool for accessibility, as we're struggling with reading levels in some grades. And then he, as the keynote speaker, was amazing. The way that he broke up the generations. I had never heard it described like that, and I felt like as we go in our relationships at work or community, it's like just knowing what generation people are from really could help us inform perspective. So, and then we went to this special education changes that are coming in 2028. And so it really had to do, and please correct me if I say anything, because Matt was there too. So it was talking about the section of IEPs that qualifies somebody for a specific learning disability. And there's going to be changes there because it seems to be, they didn't really use the word overused, but they want to change the way that that is defined. And they're moving more towards a response to intervention. Right, instead of, yeah. And so, I guess what I was wondering, because I hadn't heard a lot about the changes from like, yeah, so I guess what I'm wondering is if we could maybe talk more about that in our, you know, maybe study sessions, or I don't know, as it comes up, right? So I'm looking forward to, yeah, talking about that. I feel like there was something else, but.
We can come back to you if you remember.
Okay, yeah.
Those are great. Thank you, Sherry. Deja.
My time at WASDA was, it was really fun, actually. Me and Nathan, met a few people. We made some pretty good connections and, even some new friends. Like, it was really fun. On the more learning side of things, I also was focused on like mental health and, technology and that kind of stuff. Like Erica said, the keynote speakers, his perspective on the different perspectives of generations was really interesting to me because, like, I never thought, like, obviously I know that technology has impacted our world and like it's evolved and all that, but I never thought like how our actions using it is like how it impacts younger kids and like how, like when he said that the average age of a child that stays home alone now is 15 years old, I was shocked because like when I was little, like I was like 9 years old and me and my sister was staying home by ourselves. Like, so it's just like things like that was just like I kept picking up like little tiny things that like changed the way that I think about things. I went to the cell phone breakout session. And it was really interesting actually. I learned a lot about how the adults think about cell phone use and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really interesting how it's consulate. I think their policy was really interesting because it almost reflected like my school personally, our policy on phones. But theirs was like a little bit more strict than ours. So I thought that was interesting. I don't think that we have an overall district policy on cell phones, which I thought was interesting because I know we haven't had major problems with it in the past, but I was thinking that that's something we can implement is a cell phone policy, just like overall, and then like each school can like still like not necessarily do their own thing with it, but kind of along those lines. Same way with like dress code and things like that. So I just learned a lot, and it was a really good experience. I'm glad I went.
Thank you, Deja. I'm
Sorry.
so glad you went too. You remembered now,
remembered.
didn't you?
I'm on board with Deja about exploring the cell phone policy. And then also I was thinking if we could explore talking about like AI policies.
An overall technology policy.
Yeah.
One
There's
policy.
all
to
these
rule them all.
things, yeah.
And
Smartwatches.
Right, and
Yes.
OSBI has they have that document that has a
Mhm.
guideline that says, for these assignments, 0 AI, this
Right,
assignment, or
right,
2, it's
yeah.
like a 0 to 5.
Yeah, OSBI has guidance.
Usage.
Right. Might be a fun thing for the East Committee to dive deeper into.
Or we do have the TAC,
Yeah,
the Technology Advisory.
and I got an email from that today. We were going this way.
Did Matt already speak?
Yeah, I went.
Yeah, and then we came back to Erica and like, now, you didn't remember anything new, did you?
No, I'm gonna-
Nope.
10 minutes ago.
Okay, let's start with Director Watts.
My focus, of course, was learning how to be on a school board and what my role and responsibility is. Also getting to get to know my fellow board directors and building those relationships. One of the panels that Mary, Deja, and I got to be a part of with our onboarding talked about building that mutual respectful board and how that translates to our community on building that trust. And so I think we're all aligned in a lot of our thoughts about our school district and our students. So I'm excited for that. Getting to present and seeing Deja and Nathan shine was such a highlight. They're just so well spoken, and some of Nathan and Deja had to kind of speak off the cuff and talk about things that were not in the script things. And it was just really, really amazing to see these two young people just be so professional and eloquent speech. Good job.
I concur.
Yes, so proud to say that you. Good job, Deja.
Director Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
So I attended a couple. One of my primary one was listening to Superintendent David Bender Yacht do Linden talk about their passing of a bond. They're just really eager to find out what was working, and a lot of it tends to be that repetitive. So even if you go and you hear things that are familiar, it affirms like, okay, we're on the right track, just need to do more of things, go a little deeper. Also attended the one on the cell phone policy with Peninsula. I attended a webinar that Peninsula School did, and it was very helpful, and it was really student driven. I would say many things in our district would benefit when students. So it sounds to me like we need to continue to mentor and support your efforts and your peers in what we need to do to support you. Mental health, schools, friends, social life, all those things. So that's a big ask, but we will be here to support you. Let's see what else. ChatGPT also. I spent the whole weekend talking about, well, that's such a Gen X thing. Is it Gen Z and Gen Alpha? And it's fascinating because my own children talk about these levels, and I'm shocked at the discretion between the different generations. Like, what's the big whoop? Like, what about Gen? But this really honed in for me how the different generations think on things. So targeting that message for those different people was great. Also, I talked to a woman who was representing the Indigenous, so they had the silent auction. And I said, it just made sense for me. I'd like, how can we incorporate more, other than the land acknowledgement? How can I really incorporate that into my classroom? How can we incorporate that as a district and showing signs of, like, what do they say? Walk the talk. Walk the talk is having things in our school buildings, acknowledging the Still tribe, acknowledging the Tulalip tribes. I just think it's another awareness. It just kind of keeps coming back to me when we do these annual conferences, reminders. So all around great and good times, good food, good conversation. I don't think I could have spent probably 4.5 hours with anyone else. It was great getting to know Dr. Sweeting. Probably knew more about Sherry than she expected, but.
Yeah, thank you. Nathan.
I too have learned more about Sherry than.
Yes. You tell. You send your 2,000, but they're not gonna.
Well, I'm blessed to be fortunate enough to travel with my board to the annual, so the second consecutive year in a row. I think it's a very unique opportunity for me as a senior in high school to travel with people who are many more times my age. I'm kidding.
Whoa now,
Well, but
shots fired.
kidding. The idea behind I'm able to travel with people with far more experience. And who are willing, even more than willing to share those experiences with me. In hopes that me and my generation, kind of the ones who are gonna inherit these systems. And it's our job to kind of uplift each other and to carry on what the legacy was before us. So as for things that I've learned, I mean, the main reason why I joined or would love the experience to join the board was to make connections. And I am so grateful to make these connections in the one place that I'm surrounded with people like-minded people like at WASDA. But other than that, it also comes with frustrations. As a student, there isn't many opportunities at the conference to learn things about what I can do as a student leader. It's much more catered to directors and superintendents, and I think it's really important to note that there's flaws in systems. And there's maybe not flaws, but there's always improvements that can be said for a conference, that can be said for a school district such as ours. There's always things that we can improve upon. I think moving forward, I would love to reach out to WASDA directors and perhaps look into. I think I mentioned this with was it Share You about perhaps starring or student recommended conference or breakout rooms at WASDA to kind of help guide student reps to follow like what might be more inclined for them to listen to. More than that, there could even be breakout sessions where students are leading the discussion, in which there isn't directors involved even, in which board directors, they're able to come and listen and ask questions, and get more insight from their student reps. I think that would be more than beneficial. So all in all, this conference.
Did you provide that feedback with that survey there? Did you fill out a survey?
There was an email that had a survey.
Might check your junk. You might already fill it out though.
I probably already filled it out.
I haven't done.
I
it
would
yet.
definitely.
It's right here. I can send the link to you.
Please.
Okay. Those are great ideas. Okay, so in here, there was recommended, we all missed it, recommended
It was
for
in one of the
student
pages.
advisors. It was not on the app.
I'm
So
telling you,
I
but
filled
yeah,
I filled out the
generational
survey, I said,
difference.
this needs to be on the app.
I wasn't given one.
Oh, and you were not given
Oh.
one. So there is a flaw in that system, and I did kind
That's
of
weird.
suggest, like, what you said, but I think if more of us are saying that on our surveys back to them. But I also think it's a good idea to reach out directly, like you said, like just go right to the source.
I will tell you as well that I'm in touch with, so I did a couple mini pilots, Scott Dahlquist, and he has an associate that he works with. And I will send him an email and he does these mini pilots. And I'm thinking that would be great to have that as a potential tapping into what students, and it could even be done something, I've done mini pilots via Zoom. And they could tap into what students, you might be not here for next year, but you could provide valuable insight
Absolutely.
on what that could look like.
Hopefully you're not here next year.
You're 13.
All right, well, thank you for sharing. I wanted to share a little bit about my experience too. This is my 6th year at the WASDA annual. And I've seen a lot of changes over the years with COVID, having to do it online. And this is by far my favoriteest annual conference that I've ever attended. I think it was because of all of you and the amazing team that we have and the joy I feel just rubbing shoulders with you guys. And it was just so much fun. Everything was fun and lovely. And I loved being there and representing Arlington in such a positive way. And when we all stood up for our Board of Distinction Award, I was just so proud and so grateful. And then also presenting a class and having everybody there. And it was it was a fun little class and we had a great time and just lots of joy in my heart for all of us working together for our students. And of course, it's not perfect. Our school system's not perfect, but I think everybody's in it to make it better, and I appreciate them. I went to a breakout session called SIPs in Action, Making School Improvement Plans Meaningful. And I don't know what. Did I miss something?
Has one more.
Oh, yeah. Oh, going back to Matt.
Oh, no,
No,
I can
finish.
wait, yeah.
Okay,
finish.
okay. So school improvement plans, right? Sometimes it's not as super fun. And some other districts also wanted to make it more enriching, more meaningful for them. And so I don't remember which district it was like Central Kitsap or South Kitsap or something on a peninsula or an island. And they did something where they made their 19 schools improvement plans. They turned it from a 300-page document that they all kind of fell asleep reviewing to like school improvement plans that were like live in-person visits to schools. So they planned out a 2-year process where they were going to review every school and their improvement plans periodically during that 2 years. And every school would get visited once in those 2 years, and they would do look-fors that pertained to the school improvement plans. So these are the things we're working on to improve in our school, and they had this whole template process, and they had it very set and predictable and steady routine. And they would have these things that they would look for. They would meet in the school with the principal, and he would say, these are things we're looking for that pertain to our school improvement plans and what we're doing. And so they would go to each classroom, and they went all over the building. They separated so they wouldn't have like a quorum. So all of the directors would go to different parts of the school and do a tour, and then they would come back and like do a little debrief and talk about all the things that they saw in action that the schools were working on making improvements on. And it was so much more impactful for them than just hearing about it in a meeting. They still had the school improvement plans in the meetings, but it was once every other year in person in their classrooms, and then once in a meeting. So they would have both, kind of like a hybrid. Yeah, but I thought that was really fun. We're already doing school visits. What if we had look-fors that pertained to the school improvement plans while we're doing our school visits? And I thought, we're already kind of doing this. We could maybe tweak it a little bit, and then it's more meaningful when we look at those school improvement plans, how we're seeing it actually happen in the buildings.
It's almost like evidence-based.
Yes. So I thought that was really cool. And then I went to another class with Chris. It was so fun with pro tips for superintendents and board presidents and supporting your board superintendent team. And a lot of things that they talked about were just so like really deep. They talked a lot about a lot of little details, but we have a really good team and we have a really good relationship. And I just really enjoy hearing about what other districts are doing and what we could do a little bit more or a little bit less or a little bit better, or let's try this. And it was just so beneficial to kind of hear what everybody else is doing and what they're struggling with. And then I also went to the breakout session about PTAs and school boards and how they can work together for advocacy. And one of the things that they shared is my PTA friends from the Washington State PTA. They talked about how all the schools that have PTAs have higher test scores, that they have higher graduation rates, that there's just so many variables that are improved when the parents and the community are engaged. When families are partnering with the schools, they are in the buildings and they are volunteering and they are helping, because it is a team effort, this community interaction that we have to have. And so I thought we need to strengthen our PTAs. So I sent Chris an email and we're on it. So yeah, lots of really great learnings and lots of benefits. I'm so glad we were able to go, and it was nice to focus on school board for a solid 3 days straight, even though it was slightly exhausting and a lot of sitting, but so encouraging. And we're doing a great job, you guys. And Matt, you have something to add?
Yes, so one of the things that I thought about is getting board of distinction.
Yes.
Pretty cool, in
Yeah.
one of 17. What do we get board of the year?
Ooh,
So I want to shoot for that sometime in the future.
okay, Gary.
He doesn't write to it. The factors there is that we have to show where we're closing the gap.
Okay.
So we identify as a board which gap we specifically, like when Carrie, today we're gonna dig in a little bit more to the data. But when we do that, since we didn't get there, we can identify a specific area that we wanna really hone in on and do some specific action and then show the results.
So is it specifically educational gaps? Could it be PTSA
it
or
could be,
community
yeah.
involvement? Could it be anything that we decide?
Any gap that we decide.
So that's kind of like what I was saying, like what is something that we.
Under top three and then.
Right, exactly. So like I'm saying like, like we're asking our community to come together, right? We come together as a board and pick something like a big action thing that we can work on for the next year. And like just really hone in on and try and do something like that.
Because it relates to, so when they apply for the next time it comes around, which is July.
Right. So I know
It's
this
for
may not,
this year, so we would have to, I think in December, if we get a
We looked at our
chance.
board goals.
Yeah, the board there, we do have, it, but we might need to be much more specific.
and I think we need to be intentional with it too,
Mhm.
is why I was thinking, like I said, being Board of Distinction is cool. But I think like picking a project and like really kind of building it up, I think PTSA might actually be a great one. Getting more community involvement, because I know after the pandemic, that was a big one. We lost a lot of our community. And so maybe focusing on beefing up our PTA, or something like that, because I know our scores are slowly rising, right? And it's a nation, and it's not just us. And so it's just like, well, maybe you're saying PTA can buffer all of that up.
It's a win-win though. I mean, you're
Right,
gonna
right.
get all those things. You're gonna get better test scores. You're gonna get, and so even if we don't become, we can show strides too. And when we also talked about, we did our board presentation and we thought, okay, we've done this a couple times. Maybe we branch off into something else. Maybe next year it's a different presentation.
And I think that another area we can look at too is the UDL and the MTSS,
Yeah.
and two systems of support. I think that we're doing a lot of work in that area, and we're gonna even get better at doing that. So I think December study session. we bring that
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put it on everybody's radar, because it's like,
Shoot big.
Yeah.
Aim big. Aim high.
dream big.
Dream big.
Oh, aim high is the Air Force.
Air Force.
Old Air Force.
He's
yeah.
on cameras.
All right. Thank you guys for sharing. That was really great to hear everybody's different perspective. And next up, we'll like to have our second reading and adoption of board policies 3205, 3206, 5011, and 5012. And we'd like to welcome Eric Young. Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah, good evening. So as you recall, we went over the first reading last time. These are kind of mirrored policies. We have students and then staff, and same version or same policies basically for both sets of audiences. So we didn't have any changes, at least that were brought to my attention for the first reading. So no other questions on these are obviously very long, involved policies.
Thank you, Eric. Anybody have any questions or changes they'd like to suggest? Do we have a motion to approve all 4 of these?
Motion to approve all 4 of them.
All right, there's been a motion by Director Diamond and a second by Director Knapp to approve policy 3205, sexual harassment of students prohibited, 3206, pregnant and parenting students, 5011, sexual harassment of district staff prohibited, and 5012, parent, family, and marital status in pregnancy. Madam Clerk. Director Diamond,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Watts,
Aye.
President Levesque,
Yes.
Director Knapp.
Aye.
Those policies are approved. Thank you very much. Next up is our informational items. Dr. Susan.
I'm going to read one of the thank you notes from students that received the scholarship award that we spoke about tonight. I want to express my gratitude for supporting my education through this scholarship. I have loved working with kids, and this support makes my dream of becoming an elementary or special education teacher and even more possible. I cannot wait to get working towards that goal at Western Washington University. There's one. And then my only other comment is I'm grateful for all of you very much and for the Arlington community, both the one here at our school community, but also the community at large. And I wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Next up, I'd love to hear from our legislative rep, Director Kelly, anything you'd like to share?
Not too much, just that I did my, I met with they're generally a lot of ledge reps were in the, leadership, academy that I was part of. I guess we're looking for something in January, I'm not sure what that'll be, advocacy, but I think we're really moving to the model of year-round advocacy. And it's not just this, everybody shows up in the buses at Olympia's doorstep. So I think that mentality is very strong. So just looking forward to what that rally might look like. It's gonna be a longer session, obviously, in the spring. And we have pretty much the same legislators we had before the election. So there's some familiarity, which is to our benefit, but just reminding them that why we matter, right? Why they need to come to our schools and support them. And just educating the public too. I think working on that part where like, what does the state cover? What can the state do? And where we're sort of, what we're bound by and our limitations. I think there's a lack of information or education on the public's part. I do not blame the public on that. But that I would love to see something from OSPI or the legislature, helping to educate our public on school finance. And then maybe we could have that as a launching point to have the conversation rather than feeling like we're always starting from ground zero. So other than that, looking forward to 2025.
All right, thank you. Next up is comments from board members. I'd like to start with our student advisors. Asia, anything you'd like to share?
I don't know, not much is happening right now. I'm really glad that we went to LASDA. It was really good experience, actually. Our football team lost in playoffs on Saturday. It was really disappointing. But then I went to the Seahawks game on Sunday and we won, so that was exciting. I don't know.
I know you're writing an essay.
Yeah, I am. I'm writing my scalding paper, argumentative essay for AP Lang. Very fun, so exciting. It's okay. I love English and stuff like this is like low-key it's like kind of my career path. So I gotta get used to it, I guess. Lots of essays in my future, very many English classes as well. I'm so excited.
All right, thank you, Asia. Nathan.
I guess one final thought from the WASDA conference was a breakout room that I went to, and the speaker was James Lehman, he's the director of the Association of Washington Student Leaders. And he had a great perspective in which he said we need to focus on snacks and bites, in which we need to stop looking at only the big picture things, the meals, as he said, and need to start focusing more on what can we do in the moment? What can we do right now without any preparation, any planning, that can better the student life, the student growth, or not even that, an individual's growth as looking at a more human perspective. What can we do for each other as friends, family, community members, and not kind of big picture ideas. So that kind of hit me really hard. I think I need to take a step back and realize that I can do big things and big things are great, but equally as important, if I do 100 small things, that can be life-changing. Happy Thanksgiving, you all. I'm grateful for you guys.
Director Nat.
Thank you for sharing that. That was really nice. It kind of made me think too of like one note that hit me on one of the breakout sessions where we're talking about belonging. And one of the student advisors said belonging is the opposite of fitting in. And that like really hit me. I was like, yeah, belonging is not everybody being the same. And so I guess in the time of like being thankful, it's also recognizing the different paths of life that people around us are on and recognizing that and not, shoving toxic positivity in everybody's face. And I am really grateful for this moment in time and the moments that we shared together at WASDA and the team that we are.
Thank you for sharing. Director Diamond.
Nothing really more to add. Definitely thankful for the team, thankful for the WASDA experience. Yeah, nothing more.
All right, thank you.
Have a happy break.
Yes. Director Kelly.
Yeah, just always walk away with more information than I arrived, and grateful for the connections I made through the Leadership Academy. I felt they were really genuine, and you know, I could speak my truth and not feel judged. And it's a nice place for me to have an experience, because as a school teacher, I'm around young people all day. And I forget that I'm an adult and I have, you know, I can have. Now, I know you jest, I have to remind myself that I'm not correcting all day. Yeah, it's just, it's good to have that duality in my life, you know, and it really feeds me. So people will say, oh, I don't know how you can really do, you know, jack of all trades, master of none, but somehow it feeds me and I need both. So I appreciate the opportunity to hopefully do this job, you know, a service and not, I do what I can, and my heart's in it. Sometimes time is my challenge. Thank you all for your awesomeness.
Thank you, Director Kelly. Director Watts.
I really enjoyed getting to know all of you at WASDA. I'm very excited for what we can accomplish, and I love the goals, so I'm excited for that. For this week, I'm very much looking forward to watching Nathan and my wonderful son singing tomorrow at the choir concert. And getting ready for that Christmas show. It's just around the corner, so good to see you again tomorrow night, and I'm thankful for all of you and what you do. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you too. I'm grateful. I'm excited to go visit some schools tomorrow. Excited. If there's nothing else to add to the meeting, I want to remind everybody about our upcoming study session and regular board meeting. We have just one meeting in December, but it's the study session and regular meeting both on Monday, December 9th. So mark your calendars. It's gonna be a fun one. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Kelly.
Watts.
Madam Clerk. Director Diamond,
Yay.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Watts. Yay. President Levin, yay. Director Nahab, yay. Yay. Meeting's adjourned. Have a good night. Drive safe.